96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We go to this little restaurant next door to where the radio station is. Sort of, kind of. Next to the mall, in other words. And there's three people in there, two ladies and a young man, and they're all from India. And none of them knew each other in India, right?
Right.
And now they're all friends, and it turns out they're from the same town.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Isn't that crazy? It's just so much fun to talk to them. So every once in a while, I will have a news item because we do the news, and I will look something up. For example, the Taj Mahal needed to be cleaned or something, right?
Oh, yeah, that was a great story you had.
And so I brought it over to her. We were eating pizza, and I said, hey, Mina, come here. Look, there was a story about India today. And then she looks at my phone, and and then she tells me all about things. And
amazing.
It's just, it makes you want to go, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know really anything other than what she tells me and what the other young lady and the other man tell me. Although I have a hard time understanding the man, to be honest with you. When he talks, it's like, oh, yeah, is that English?
Yeah, but he smiles all the time.
He's great.
He's such a friendly guy.
He's great. Mumbai Matinee is the name of the book, written by Ajay Kaul. He's on the phone right now, and I guarantee you I'm going to share this interview with our friends over there.
Yeah.
Ajay is an engineer. He's an engineering manager. He's a writer, a blogger, and his book is doing really well on Amazon. This is his memoir, depicting the life and culture around the city of Mumbai through 8 interconnected stories. Oh, my gosh. Let's find out about this.
Wonderful.
Ajay, good morning, Ajay. How are you?
Doing well. How are you guys?
I'm good, and I can understand what you're saying. Have you had that experience where people will say, "I don't understand"? For not you, but other people who not speak Indian, but are from India, will speak English with an accent that is not easy to understand. I don't know what the difference is.
Yeah, it's depending upon various factors. Various regions in India have different dialects. So when you try to speak English, it'll sound quite a bit different.
Okay.
And of course, it also depends on the education, right? There's the vernacular schools versus the English schools. So you'll be easier to understand if you've been to an English school.
So where are you right now? Where are you calling from?
Irvine, California.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
And have you lived there for a while?
Southern California, I've lived for about 14 years now. And I started when I came to the U.S. I graduated from Thunderbird in Arizona. That's where I spent 2 years.
Oh, okay. Why did you leave India?
I've always had an exploratory mindset. I wanted to explore the world.
Yeah.
I thought, starting with an education in the United States, that's going to open up frontiers. Let me see what I can do after that.
Yeah. We have a great relationship in our country and India. I think, it seems like there's no problems politically. It doesn't seem like it anyway. I never hear about them. And it seems like it's a culture that kind of works well with our culture. Is that your experience also?
Yes, the most striking feature is that India is the most populous democracy in the world, so it gels very well with the concept of freedom and people's choice. So yes, there's a lot of alignment between the two countries.
So tell me about the book, Mumbai Matinee. There's one difference between India and the United States. It's the movies that come out of India, right?
That is true. That is very true.
And you either love them or hate them. Do you like them?
Oh, I love them.
Yeah, I do too. So is that why you called it Mumbai Matinee? It's got to do like movie-like?
The reason I call it Mumbai Matinee was it was more like life in Mumbai is always exciting. It's moving at a fast pace, so it's almost feels like a movie plot. There is tragedy, there's comedy, there is inspiration, and there's adventure. So that's why I felt, life in Mumbai itself is like a matinee.
And you've written it in a separate story form too, which is amazing. I just really enjoy that.
Yeah, that was some pressure I got initially from my agents who said, why can't you write a novel? And I said, the city is so colorful. There are so many characters. I would hate to concentrate it on just one character. So I would like to get in more folks and have stories revolve around those guys than have just one character in the story.
What is Pav Bhaji? What is that?
Oh, so it's like so you must have come across a lot of Persian bakeries. So way early in it,
Persian bakeries.
Oh, I thought you said poison. Okay. Okay.
That's in his next book.
Okay. All right. Persian bakery. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So very early in around I think it was about 16th century or 15th century when a group of Persians migrated into India, and they migrated to Mumbai. So there's a lot of Persian bakeries around Mumbai, and they've come up with this bun kind of a bread. It's called the pav. So the pav is the bread, the bun-shaped bread, and bhaji is a mixture of vegetables. So you typically have those vegetables with the bun.
Oh, I would love that.
Oh,
that sounds so good.
Do you know the restaurant in this town that you're talking to that serves Indian food is always on the top of the list when people say their favorite restaurant. I won't name it because it'll break our rules, but yeah, but everybody knows what I'm talking about. See, I'm going to give your book to the ladies next door. Here's the funny thing. Do you have? Is that you on the cover?
No. The funny thing is everybody asks me that question because it looks a lot like me. That's not me on the cover, though.
Oh, you should have put yourself on the cover. Who is that guy?
I don't know. I mean, I the designers and they said, "Hey,
you don't know."
I said, okay.
You say that the thieves and the pickpockets, they each have their own code of ethics.
What?
Yes. Yes. So
tell me about that.
So ultimately, the thing is, this is the story in chapter 6, a code of ethics, which talks about even though you get robbed by a pickpocket, they live within the code of ethics. So it's an interesting story. I don't want to divulge too much detail, but the guy gets robbed, and then he gets a pleasant surprise in the end because the pickpockets have taken something which they don't care about. They just care about the money, and whatever additional they had stolen, they return it to him.
Really?
Yes. So it brings out a very interesting, and this is something that I was also fascinated about when I was in Mumbai. I didn't have this experience, but one of my friends had it, and I was very fascinated. The fact that, and that is what keeps the culture and the life and the society going in Mumbai. We are doing our own jobs or whatever it is, legal or illegal, but we are at the end being mindful of each other.
That's right. You respect each other.
Oh my gosh! Does Mumbai look like the rest of India?
No, it is. That's why it was a culture shock to me when I came in from North India. I went to Mumbai. The pace was frenetic, and it is one city in India wherein you can, you could be out and about at 2 a.m. and you may still find a food stall to eat at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we call that New York in this case.
Absolutely. Actually, I was going to say the same thing. The only city that comes closest to Mumbai is New York City.
Oh, okay.
You talk about a crowded Mumbai train.
Yes. So that is almost everyday life in Mumbai. When you're traveling for work or anything else, you typically take a lot of trains. So train journey is very, very common. And what I say in that story in chapter 3, Actors Extraordinaire, is, again, we are moving at a frenetic pace, but that doesn't prevent us from making social contacts, from engaging with our fellow passengers, and even building relationships on the train itself.
See, I do the same thing. When I'm in New York, I talk to everybody on the train. And when I'm with somebody who's not from New York, they're always like, oh my gosh, you don't know those people. But I don't know. It seems to me, especially if you have a real question, like, is there a bathroom anywhere? Tell me, could I, if I've never been to Mumbai, could I use your book in a way to become familiar with what I should expect if I was going to travel there?
Yes, and actually a step further, it would help you in figuring out how to explore the areas that you're really interested in. So let's say, as you said, you would like to try the pav bread and bhaji. You could just look around and say, oh, I just need to spot a stall where I can have a pav bhaji. Or you could say, oh, I need to go to the cricket ground and see how guys are playing cricket. Or I just need to travel in a local train. So yes, it does help you identify those spots, those areas where you would be interested in, and the kind of interactions you would be kind of most likely enjoy.
Forgive me for a dumb question, but I probably have a lot of them. do you drive on the right side of the road or the left side? Where does the vehicles drive?
That's a very, very funny question you asked, because when I first took my driving test here, I drive out of the DMV and the instructor looks at me and says, are you from a country that drives to the left?
Oh, really? Oh, no. Were you driving? You were driving on the left?
And I look at him, I'm like, how did you know? And then I realized, oh, wow, I'm driving to the left.
Since we hear that Mumbai is the financial capital, is it like Wall Street in New York?
Yes, to some extent, but the main difference is, yes, it's the hub of all the banks. There is the National Stock Exchange. So yeah, it is a lot like it. But and that's why I mentioned in Chapter 1, the reason it surprised me from a financial capital perspective is it is also a lot of economic activity for the common man, which is awesome.
Do you know what I have a question about? It's the idea that a lot of our technical support is over in India. When I first started noticing this, I thought, well, they must really have a better understanding of computers over there. And then I realized the real reason is the worker is cheaper over there. It doesn't that would tick me off if I was you or if I was over there. I would say, well, why? I mean, why are you paying me so little? You know, is it an issue for you as somebody who's lived both places?
No, it's just a level of living, meaning the rupee to dollar conversion and how much your overall economic size is. So I think it's more of the purchasing power parity between the rupee and the dollar. So relatively, as the levels of living increase, obviously there'll be more and more parity. But right now, it's not at that level wherein you would expect to be at par with the U.S.
How is India in general dealing with the unrest that is over there between the two Koreas and China and Israel?
Oh my gosh, that's the whole world.
So while we were growing up, India had this concept of being non-aligned, meaning we were not aligned to any superpower. Mm-hmm. But that was only in concept. So what I've seen from a diplomatic perspective is India has tried to be as neutral as possible, which is positive as well as negative. Positive in the sense, when I travel across the world before I was a U.S. citizen, people used to ask me, okay, what country do you belong to? I would say India. And say, oh, great. You didn't see many folks who did not like India because of the neutral stance. But then there's also the other side which says, we don't know what you're thinking. Are you neutral? Are you pro this or pro that? So I think overall, India has been pro-peace, pro-diplomatic efforts, and always we've tried not to provoke wars as if we can. Though there have been quite a few wars in the Indian subcontinent, but overall the focus is on peace.
Yeah, and it is always interesting to expect an individual to agree with the government of the country where the individual lives. I mean, everybody's different, and it's kind of weird. And this happens to us just in this business. People will automatically assume we have an opinion in one way or the other simply because we do a radio show, and it's not the same whether it's a country or a profession or anything. It's always different. We saw this movie called Outsourced. I don't know if you've ever seen this movie. It was like a love story about this guy who goes to work in India to teach the tech support people on the phones. And then he falls in love and
United States
and all
citizen.
that. But there was a scene in that movie, or a couple scenes, where a young boy goes to hug the guy, give him, hey, how you doing? And while he's hugging him, he's taking his wallet or his phone or something. So the pickpocket thing came to mind. I mean, that came to mind when you were talking about the pickpocket thing.
Yes, but again, I think that may have been an extreme. I'll give you a counter example wherein I once had an experience with a little boy coming over to me, and he says, hey, would you like your shoes to be cleaned? And I said, no, but you can have some money. And he said, no, I don't beg, I don't steal. I would like to give you some service and then be paid in return. And I was very impressed. I said, okay, if that's the case, go ahead. So there are these different aspects, just as you said, there is that area wherein you will have an experience with pickpockets, but there's also this conscious, hardworking, young individual who's also trying to do it the honest way. So you'll see both aspects of it.
How did you keep your really great attitude that you have after your near brush with death?
So it was the story itself that inspired folks who had. Now, I wasn't the main character there in that story, but the inspiration was how the entire city suddenly came alive and started helping each other. I mean, the most fascinating thing was the hospitals were out of ambulances, and all the local commuters who had cars, they actually helped transport the patients. That was amazing. And then the stock exchange was back in action in less than 72 hours. We suddenly got all inspired. We said, wow, if the political system and the politicians can take the lead and get us there, we should absolutely be able to follow.
You're amazing.
Wow, that is interesting. Tell me, can I ask you about your love life?
Sure.
All right. One of the things that fascinates me about Indian culture is the arranged marriage. You didn't have to do that, did you? Or did you?
No, and I think that is very overhyped, and it's not completely accurate.
Oh, really?
So there is, yes. So from my dad's generation, the percentage of arranged marriages to the regular ones was a lot higher. But then our generation, it has reduced quite a bit. It's not an everyday thing. So as and when the economy grows, the people become more self-aware, self-conscious, they are more independent. This percentage has kept on going down. So I'm fairly sure at this point it's a lot lower than it existed in my dad's generation or even my generation.
And if you are as old as the young man on the cover, then we are your dad's generation, Robin and I. Yeah. So maybe that's why I'm thinking it's that way. Well, I don't know if that's good or bad. I knew a couple up in New York, and they were an arranged marriage, and they were wonderful. It was beautiful, and it worked out nice. But I'm so used to our culture that you never know what's really the best.
Yeah, and I have an opinion there. I don't think either is bad. The main thing is the boy and the girl need to get to know each other before they marry. Whether it is via arranged marriage or whether you know the person, you have to spend enough time to know each other.
Yeah. So there's a girl on the cover. You don't know her either, do you?
No, I don't know her either.
You know who she looks like a little bit? She looks like that girl from The Wonder Years. Do you remember Winnie or Minnie or something?
Oh yes, Winnie Cooper. She was one of my favorite characters.
Right. She sort of looks like her.
Are you responsible for helping the development of Alexa?
To some extent, I'm part of the broader team in Amazon which builds around Alexa, and it's very exciting, and it's awesome every day to be part of that team.
What's mine called? Mine is not Alexa. What's mine called?
Siri on your phone.
Siri. Alexa is way smarter than Siri. I'm telling you. I can't. I've asked Siri so many things, and she goes, "I don't know." So come on.
That's awesome to hear.
But my friend has Alexa, and Alexa always seems to know everything. So
you seem to be an extremely good leader, and that really does take some doing. I think to get your point across and to have people on your team that respect each other.
Yeah, and I think the key to good leadership and management is being aware of your team, understanding what each one of how everybody brings what to the table, and being able to channel those energies into productivity and being very, very respectful of everybody on the team.
So I didn't ask you a personal question about your love life. Are you married? Yes, and I got married like 4 years ago. I was single for a long time. Do you have children?
I have a stepchild, but not of my own.
So, I don't want to get too personal, but I mean, what do you want your children, your stepchild, or whoever you are older than, what do you want them to know About the world? That's kind of a big question, or about life, or maybe even specifically about Mumbai.
So my main aim for the rest of the world is travel as much as you can, so you build your own perspective.
Yeah.
So you see the world from your own eyes and not get too influenced by others' thought. Because it is interesting, as you said earlier, you guys too, just because you're part of a radio does not mean you think like that, right? So it's everybody has their own individual perspective, and the more you travel, the more you're able to build and interact with different cultures, different surroundings, and build your own perspective of the world around you.
Good advice, yeah.
Do you have a place that's your favorite? I mean, you've been to all 7 continents, and do you have a place that you really treasure in your heart?
Definitely Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
Antarctica?
Wow.
Why, you don't like people?
Yes. Actually, the amazing thing about Antarctica is that you get to see the other side of nature, the animals, the fishes, all these interacting with humans in a totally different way, in a more independent way, and you get to see their natural instincts. So it is definitely a fascinating continent, and it almost makes you feel like maybe this is what the Earth looked like at the time of creation.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I love that, yeah. But did you play a baseball team called the Tatas? The Tatas?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? I thought there was a story in here about playing the Tata team. What was that?
No, that is a cricket. That's a cricket team.
Oh, cricket. Okay. It looks like baseball. Okay, I didn't understand that. Okay. I just thought that was funny. Because Robin has a shirt that says Save the Tatas, and I thought, well, now I understand the shirt.
That's right. Talking about breast cancer here.
I see.
And that's one of the things you said, cricket games can last for like 5 days.
Again, my dad's generation loved 5-day games in cricket. Our generation was more into the shorter version, that is a one-day game. And then of late, the even shorter, which is like, 4 hours, 5 hours max, is the 2020 format. And again, the amazing thing is the economy opened up, which improved the disposable income of the average individual, and that meant they were looking for more entertainment. And suddenly, the shorter version of the game came to the fore. And then many young players who would not have had a chance to make it big on the national front suddenly got an opportunity playing for these clubs and these franchises, which was a great development.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, I just found your picture. Yeah, you don't look like that guy at all. Okay. Wait. I found your picture on Amazon. The book is getting really good reviews on Amazon, so let's direct some people to go buy it over at Amazon. I usually give the book away, but I'm going to give it to the lady next door at the restaurant. I'm sure she will love it. So, how do you have a website dedicated to the book or to your writing?
Yes, it is. I have a website on Facebook. It's facebook.com/Ajay Kaul Writer.
Okay.
Nice.
And I keep updating all the new developments on the book on that page.
Okay.
Are you going to continue on with projects like this? Because I really enjoyed the style of your writing and the way you have the different stories in there.
Yes, I have 2 or 3 projects going on in my head right now, so I'm trying to figure out which one to focus on. But yes, I will continue this trend.
Oh, wonderful!
Everybody has 2 or 3 projects going on in their head.
Yeah, but I think you, sir, you actually follow through and you make them come to fruition. You put them on paper.
Well, what an enjoyable conversation we've had with you, Ajay. So where are you in Southern California? What city?
Irvine. It is just a little bit south of LA.
What's it called?
Irvine.
Okay.
Irvine.
Oh, Irvine. Okay. Oh, no, I know where you are. Yeah. Okay. Mumbai Matinee is the name of the book. Ajay Kaul spells his name Ajay Kaul, and that should be able to help you. We'll put this interview up as a podcast on YouTube and on Facebook, etc., so you can share it with the people that you think might be interested in it. And we'll do the same thing with our lady next door. Ajay, thank you for being on there with us. That was fun.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed talking to you guys.
You are welcome. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Chris Foster. There's been a shooting at a high school in Santa